on my left, the cricketers, and on my right, the ringers. As the ringers have come further, I'm going to give them 4.
Heads, please.
It's a tail.
Go for it.
Right, this is a set by Eric Nast, all round the general and correct as of March 2025. Graham, not counting caretaker appointments, who is the oldest man to manage an FA English Premier League team?
Roy Hodgson.
Is correct. Roy Hodgson for 2. Derek, South West Africa, a territory under South African administration from 1915 to 1996, and South African occupation from 1966 to 1990, became independent under which name in March 1990?
Namibia.
Namibia for 2. Chris, AFOs, Alpha Foxtrot Oscar, AFOs and SFOs are specialist police officers. For what does the F stand?
Forensics.
Not forensic.
Firearms.
Firearms. Authorised firearms officers and specialist firearms. 1 for Andy. John, which real life person does Johnny Depp play in the 2004 film Finding Neverland?
J.M. Barry.
J.M. Barry for 2. Andy, in 1665, which Dutch mathematician and astronomer discovered Titan, the largest moon of Saturn? Huygens for 2. Alan, which German illustrator is best known for his cartoon-like pictures for children's books such as The Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson?
Axel Scheffler.
Axel Scheffler for 2. And John, in anatomy, what name is given to the duct that conveys urine from the kidneys to the bladder?
The urethra.
No, not the urethra.
Urethra.
Ureter. 1 to Graham. And Jamie, the short beat, eastern long beat, Sir David's long beat, and western long beat are the 4 extant species of which egg-laying mammal?
Echidna.
Echidna for 2, and end of round.
This one is actually not one.
3 possible goes at that, and only 2 answers.
Okay, end of round 1. Cricketers scored 6, ringers 8.
Right, round 2, Graham. Which comedian and actor wrote the 2023 book Unruly, A History of England's Kings and Queens?
David Mitchell.
David Mitchell for 2. Derek, 3 pairs of large glands, the parotid, submandibular and sublingual, are collectively known as which glands?
Saliva.
Yes, salivary for 2 points. And Chris, nicknamed the Tornado, what is the nationality of former snooker player Tony Drago?
Maltese.
Maltese for 2. John, what is the English equivalent of an agent immobilier in France?
Spell agent, please.
Agent as an agent, immobilier, I-M-M-O-B-I-L-I-E-R. Derek?
Denver boot or wheel lock?
No.
Estate agent.
Estate agent 1 to John. Andy, how are the 3 water nymphs who appear in Richard Wagner's opera cycle Der Ring des Nibelungen known collectively?
Rhine maidens.
He's correct. And Alan, which Javanese dish consists of marinated meat barbecued on skewers served with a spicy peanut sauce?
Satay?
Satay for 2. John, the setting for which play by Shakespeare is Bohemia in the western part of the modern-day Czech Republic.
Winter's Tale.
The Winter's Tale for 2. And Jamie, Cafe Clubben Island, an uninhabited island off the northern shore of which territory is the undisputed northernmost point of land on Earth?
Greenland.
Greenland for 2. End of round.
Okay, end of round 2. Cricketers scored 9, now 15. Ringers 6, 14.
Round 3. Graham. Originally from the Venetian language, which in formal greeting with the dual meaning of hello and goodbye has entered the vocabulary of English.
You say Venetian.
Venetian.
Ciao.
Ciao. Derek, created by Bill Tidy, which comic strip was a parody of a series of novels by John Galsworthy.
Parachute.
Not the Parishes.
The Fosdike saga.
1 to John for the Fosdike saga. Chris, based on the life of William Shakespeare, which BBC 2 TV sitcom, premiering in 2016, was written by Ben Elton. Upstart Crow for 2. John, the word for a seemingly endless and futile task comes from the name of which character in Greek mythology who incurred the wrath of Zeus?
Sisyphus?
Yep, or Sisyphean, yep. 2 to John. And Andy, which English settlement in present-day North Carolina was founded in 1584. When it was visited by a ship in 1590, the colonists had disappeared.
Roanoke.
Roanoke for 2. Alan, in March 2025, who was sacked as captain of the England women's cricket team after nearly 9 years in the post?
Heather Knight.
Heather Knight for 2. John, how is the Hungarian Jewish Holocaust survivor and Bauhaus-trained architect Laszlo Toth known in the title of a 2024 movie?
The Brutalist.
The Brutalist for 2. And Jamie, born Edward Stanley Smith, the record of which Earl, with a tenure of 22 years as party leader, still stands as the longest in UK Conservative Party history.
Garvey.
Derby, yeah, brackets 14th Earl of, 2 points, end of round.
End of round 3, cricketers scored 8 and now 23. Ringers scored 7 and are on 21.
Round 4. Graham. Abu the Souf, a 1960 French New Wave film directed by Jean-Luc Godard, is usually known in English by which one-word title? Come in. Team. Breathless. 1 to Chris. Derek. Which Sondheim musical was inspired by a pointillist painting depicting the island of La Grande Jatte?
Sunday afternoon with George.
Team.
Sunday in the park with George.
Sunday in the Park with George.
Yeah.
1 to John. Chris, which word can refer to the grape most commonly used in the production of sherry and to a horse characterised by a golden body coat and white or cream-coloured mane and tail?
Appaloosa.
Not Appaloosa. Team.
Palomino.
Palomino. 1 to John. And John here, the Rugby Union Trophy awarded to the winner of the annual Six Nations Championship match between Italy and France is named for which man who was born in Nice? Garibaldi. 4 to 2. Andy, name either of the journalists and presenters who host the podcast The Rest is Money.
Lewis.
Not Lewis. Tim.
Ahmed.
Over.
Steph McGovern.
Yep, or Robert Peston. Stephen McGovern or Robert Peston. 1 to Alan. And Alan, your question. In which country are MG cars now manufactured?
South Korea.
Not South Korea.
China.
1 point to John for China. And John here, which dystopian novel was written in a remote farmhouse on the island of Jura in the Inner Hebrides in the late 1940s?
Is that mine?
No, South Korea.
Uh, 1984.
Is correct, 1984. And Jamie, which painting by Jack Vettriano is the UK's best-selling art print, having sold more than 1 million copies?
Singing Butler.
The Singing Butler for 2. End of round 4, halfway.
Okay, end of round 4. Cricketer scored 4 and are now 27. Ringers scored 7 and are now 28.
Right, swapping over. Round 5, Derek. Not counting caretaker appointments, which current Brighton head coach is the youngest man to manage an FA English Premier League team?
Hertzler.
Sorry?
Hertzler.
Hertzler, yeah, 4-2, Fabian Hertzler. And Graham, by what name was the Democratic Republic of the Congo known between 1971 and 1997? Zaire for 2. John, a FLO, Foxtrot Lima Oscar, is a specialist police officer. For what do the letters FL stand?
Don't know.
Family liaison.
Family liaison, 1, 2, Derek. Chris. Which actor plays writer and academic C.S. Lewis in the 1993 biographical film Shadowlands?
Hopkins.
Hopkins for 2, Anthony Hopkins. Alan. Asaph Hall was an American astronomer who's best known for having discovered 2 moons in 1877. Name either.
Phobos.
Yep. Andy, which cartoonist and illustrator is perhaps best remembered as the creator of St. Trinian's School?
Searle.
Searle for 2 points, Ronald. And Jamie, which muscle used in mastication, chewing, is primarily responsible for the elevation of the mandible, the lower jaw?
Muscle. Which muscle?
Yeah.
Digastric.
No.
Masseter.
Masseter, 1 to Alan. And John, Chinese, Indian, Sunda and Philippines are the 4 extant Asian species of which creatures sometimes referred to as scaly anteaters?
Pangolins.
Sorry?
Pangolins.
Team
Pangolins.
Pangolins, you missed an N out of it.
You know the first one, missed the R, put the R in. Jesus Christ.
Okay, after round 5, Ringers scored 6 and are 34, and Cricketers scored 7 and are 34.
Round 6. Derek, which broadcaster, comedian and actor wrote the 2017 book Mythos, the Greek myths retold?
Stephen Fry.
Stephen Fry for 2. Graham, also known as the tear glands, which paired exocrine glands, 1 for each eye, are found in most terrestrial vertebrates? Lacrimal for 2. John, still playing on the senior circuit, which snooker player is nicknamed the Whirlwind?
Jimmy White.
Jimmy White for 2.
Still playing.
On the senior circuit. And Chris, what is the English equivalent of a magasin de bricolage in France?
Antique shop.
No,
It's a junk shop.
not a junk shop.
Charity shop.
No, anybody?
DIY.
DIY or a home improvement store, yeah? Alan, which rock in the Rhine River is the subject of numerous legends, poems and songs about maritime disaster?
Lorelei.
Lorelei is right. 2 points. Andy, which Vietnamese soup dish consisting of broth, rice noodles, herbs and meat is considered the country's national dish?
Pho.
Pho. That's 2 for Andy. And right, we're up to Jamie. The setting for which play by Shakespeare is Navarre, in the northern part of modern-day Spain.
Love's Labour Lost.
Love's Labour's Lost. And John, what name is shared by the archipelago at South America's southernmost tip and Argentina's most southerly province?
Tierra del Fuego.
Tierra del Fuego for 2.
Okay, Round 6, end of. Ringers 8, scoring 42. Cricketers 6, now on 40.
Round 7. Derek. Which short Spanish word meaning hello or hi is also the name of weekly Spanish language magazine?
Oh, yeah.
Team?
Hola.
Hola. Yeah. 1, 2, Alan. Graham. The work of which satirical cartoonist and illustrator includes graphics for rock group Pink Floyd, particularly on their 1979 album The Wall. Gerald Scarfe for 2. John. Which BBC TV adaptation of Shakespeare's history plays, first aired between 2012 and 2016, took its title from a passage in Richard II.
Set to die.
No.
The whole crown. The whole crown.
What?
The hollow.
Yeah,
crown.
sorry, I couldn't quite make that call. Hollow is right, Chris. Hollow crown, yeah. I thought you said whole crown. Yeah. Anyway, hollow crown is correct. 1 point to Derek. Right, and Chris, named after a character in Greek myth, what name is given to a case in which alcohol decanters are visible but locked up?
Tantalus.
Tantalus for 2. Where are we up to now? We're up to Alan. Alan, which scheme was an unsuccessful Scottish attempt in the late 17th century to establish New Caledonia, a colony on the Isthmus of Panama?
The McDonald's.
Not the McDonald's scheme. See?
Oh, I'm dead.
Go for it. Me? Yeah. Darian.
Darian. 1 point. Darian. Andy, in 2024, who left her role as head of Chelsea women's football team to take up the same role with the US women's national team? Hayes, Emma Hayes. 1 to Graham. Jamie. Hungarian aristocrat Laszlo Almasi served as the basis for the protagonist in which 1992 Michael Ondaatje novel and the movie adaptation of the same name, 1996.
English patient.
The English Patient for 2. And John, with a tenure of 20 years to date, who is the longest, with a tenure of 20 years, who to date is the longest serving leader of the UK Labour Party? That's your question, John. Do you want it again?
Yes, please.
Yeah, with a tenure of 20 years, who to date is the longest serving leader of the UK Labour Party?
Harold Wilson.
No, team. Outley 1 to Graham. End of round 7.
Okay. End of round 7. Ringers scored 5 and are now 47, and Cricketers scored 6 and are now 46.
Right, round 8. Derek. Which 1959 film by French director Alain Resnais is set in the aftermath of the first atomic bomb dropped in August 1945.
On the beach.
Not on the beach.
We've got him.
No. Over.
Hiroshima on the Moor.
Hiroshima, Mon-Amour, 1 to John. Graham, the Sondheim musical Into the Woods intertwines the plots of several of whose stories?
Grimm.
Grimm, yeah, Brothers Grimm. 2 points. John, meaning scented in English, that's SC, meaning scented in English, which fortified sherry wine, known for its rich nutty flavour, is developed through oxidative aging.
Amontillado.
Not Amontillado.
Oloroso.
Oloroso, 1 to Jamie. Chris, a reference to a 13th century treaty between the countries. What is the name of the rugby union trophy awarded to the winner of the annual Six Nations Championship match between Scotland and France?
Alliance. Old Alliance.
Old Alliance. And 3A, Alan. Complete the title of the podcast presented by Richard Osman and Marina Hyde. The rest is entertainment for 2 points. Andy, first produced in 1948, which French car model was the world's first front-wheel drive car to become a million seller?
Citroen C5.
Not the C5.
Citroen de Chevaux.
De Chevaux, 2 CV, 1 to John. Jamie, some elements of Larne, that's Laugharne, some elements of Larne on the River Taff estuary in Carmarthenshire, where the writer lived intermittently, are evident in which radio drama of 1954. On the Millwood for 2. We want to score, do we?
On score?
Yeah.
Okay, at the moment, cricketers are on 52 and ringers are on 52.
52. Right, no pressure, John.
None at all.
In 1889, who painted a view of the garden and also the sick ward at the hospital in Arles? A-R-L-E-S.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Revenge.